Y'all went to eat, and then when you got back, she texted, and that's when you heard. You hear the knock or scream.
From like that area, it started howling.
Yeah.
Over in that direction.
That.
Yeah, and it was like every other one was the same pitch, but then the one between it was a different pitch, and they were right beside one another or whatever. And then it stopped. I'd rolled over my sleeping pads, cellophane or whatever, real crackly. So I rolled over, because I was facing that way, and this door was open on my tent. It was hot that night.
Yeah.
God, it was so hot. Rolled over and started looking this way, and I was like, idiot, playing tricks on yourself,
Yeah.
And then I heard crack, like a real loud limb on tree, crack. I was like, man, that's a big limb fell out of that tree. Never heard it hit the ground. I was like, holy crap, that's kind of weird.
Something ain't right.
Yeah, so I sat here and I was like, golly. And by this time I was laid down on the ground, I was up on one elbow. And I was just kind of looking out the tent. And like I said, one door was open, so I could see him like 45 degrees, 90 degrees that way. So I was looking, and all I had was a little pin light. That pin light.
Yeah.
So I was like, because usually you can see something.
Yeah, you can see by here to that tree is about all you can see.
Yeah, I was like, okay. And then you heard, and I was like, bullshit.
Time to go.
I was like, I text my wife, and I think the text said, I don't know who's out here trying to mess with me, but they picked a bad night. I'm in no mood. And she was like, do what you gotta do. I was like, all right. So I'm laying here, and then I got to thinking, I was like, oh, it took like 4 steps to get in hearing range and out. Once it hit hearing range, it took like 4 or 5 steps to get out of it.
Yeah.
I was like, that bastard was moving quick. And because I think my first text was, I think there's a squatch in these woods. Just kidding. And she said, well, it's a good thing you have your camera. And 2 or 3 minutes passed by. I said, F that, I don't need a picture.
Yeah.
Because by this time, the hair on the back of my neck was standing up.
Oh yeah, no time for that.
Yeah, and I was like, this is crazy. And
like you probably would get one anyway.
yeah, and I never heard it hit the gravel. I mean, you'd hear somebody walking the gravel.
Stepped over it.
So I figured it stepped over it.
Wow.
So I'm standing here, or I get out of my tent, and I was like, I told her, I said, don't text me for a minute. I'm gonna get out and see what's going on.
Yeah.
She said, okay. So I get out. And dude, from the time I get out of my tent, every time I looked, there was something behind me. I was just like, constantly.
There was at least 2 then.
So I was like, oh God. Like if I looked that way, I felt like something was staring at me over here, and just any direction. And right before it walked across here was the knock from basically right behind you. And
I reckon it's all the way to the wood line over there, or was it closer?
it was probably to the wood line, because it was loud, but it wasn't resonating in your chest. I mean, you could hear it sound like somebody hit it with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, dang, that's crazy. So once I get out, I'm looking around, minding my own business, I was like, golly, what the hell? I finally texted her, I said, whoever's out here doesn't want me out here. I'm not trying to get in any trouble, so I'm just going to leave.
Yeah.
I was like, besides, I'm creeped out. My skin was freaking crawling. And she was like, well, that's kind of weird. I mean, I literally have woken up in the middle of the night and have wolves coming through where I'm camping.
Yeah.
Go back to sleep.
Yeah.
No big deal. So I start packing my stuff up real slow. And I had everything out, like cooked stuff, coffee. I mean, I was ready for tomorrow morning. All I had to do was add water, turn the flame on.
Like me.
That's the way to do it there.
You don't get nothing out of me until 1 or 2 cups of coffee start flowing. So I had to put all that crap up, and the bike, my dirt bike luggage is small. It's 39 liters total. 3/4 of that's my tent. So everything's got a spot. So I'm packing it. And I told my wife, I said, I've never packed that bike so fast. It normally takes 15, 20 minutes to get everything right. Every time I grab something, perfect. I was just like, screw it. So I started doing my sleeping pad. And I told, like I said, that thing's super loud. And I was just like, because I mean, it just sounded, felt like something was, suppressing me basically. So I was like, and apparently I wasn't deflating it fast enough.
Yeah.
And from right there, I don't know, it wasn't even 100 yards. It sounded like somebody crow hopped and hit a tree, and I felt it. I was like, screw it. So
That was cool. It's probably right inside of that wood line right there.
And then I was bent down. I had to roll my tent up. So I'm rolling it. And up until then, you know, I would go and look around. Well, this time I felt something looking at me over here, so I just real quick. And that tree right there, the bigger one on the backside,
yeah,
it was like somebody just kind of did the whole like to get behind it real quick.
and that's where you said you saw the curved
like
buttocks.
This, and I still was looking up at what looked like an ash cheek.
Wow.
So I was like, so I stopped for a second. I said, God, man, my normal reaction is, let's go check it out.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, I think I'm outwitted here. You know, sometimes you just got to pick your battles. And I said, you know, I'd rather not know.
Exactly.
And then when I had to leave, at this time I'd put my headlamp on and I had to take it off. And all I had was hearing, like I'd never seen anything. The headlight only comes on my bike with the engine running. Totally blew my hearing ability. Cranked it up. I was like, Jesus. So the bike was aimed that way, and I aimed the light that way. I took my pin light and aimed it that way, and my headlamp aimed it that way. And I was sitting there, and I was like, and then I just slammed my helmet on, threw everything in my bag, and
Haul butt.
yeah. And then I stopped 20 minutes down the road and made sure I didn't leave anything. Put my helmet on properly, like I just pushed it down and all nice.
Rogan, there's that second tree over there. Go get behind that tree, and let's see if we can kind of step out like it happened to him that night. So maybe we can get an idea how big this damn thing is.
I'm Bobo.
You're Bobo.
Okay, cool.
You're a lot prettier than Bobo though, honey.
Kind of did like this.
Well, I just want to kind of get a size comparison.
I just thought that was kind of crazy. I was just like, holy.
It had to have been on the other side. It looked like his limb's pretty low.
Yeah. And it may have been that closer one, but hell, that night I was just ready to get the hell out of here. I don't know.
And
it was up about where his elbows are. Right here? Yeah.
That was the bottom of the butt right there.
Well, that was about the general range of like maybe the middle butt cheek or so.
Wow.
That's spooky right there.
Big, yeah.
That's a good probably 7.5 foot.
But I was just like, you know, I was down on the ground like this, rolling my tent up. I just kind of, real quick, and I was like, I stopped.
Yeah.
Dead still, I was like,
It wasn't expecting you to turn around like you did. You caught it off guard.
Well, up until then, you know, I would stop and go.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like, I want to look, but I don't want to look. And then that time I was just like, whatever it is so freaking close, I have to look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking 50 feet. Huh?
There's limbs on the other side of that tree. Unless he hugged it right where I was standing, he'd have had to been out probably 3 foot backside.
Really?
Yeah.
Like I said, it could have been that closest one. I don't remember. All I know is as soon as I did that, I was like,
If it was,
when I got home, my tent bag was, you know, it was full of leaves and debris. I mean, my wife was like, "That's not like you." Like I'm very OCD.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm rolling it up, I'm brushing it off.
Like me. I'm
That-
like,
Everything's got a
fancy.
spot. I mean,
It's like,
you can ask me
Everything
where
has to be a
something's at, and I can
certain
tell you exactly where it's at.
That's why I let her put things up. She can go find them.
like, you don't
But you got to
find
think,
stuff.
there's limbs on the other side of that tree. Said it would, if it was that tree, it would have had to been
Yeah.
4 or 5 feet, and that's down lower. So that
Yeah.
would have made it another foot taller.
All I know is it kind of tucked in behind it, and I looked, and I was like, I want to go check it out, but I don't.
No,
So when I
Especially
left,
by
some things are
yourself,
better
I
left
mean,
unknown.
yeah, so when I left, you know, normally I would have went out and hit the road. I totally avoided it. Like I remember cutting out through here, and those trees over there, I'll cut through where those limbs are.
Yeah.
And I remember I just had to get down. I was just like going through the trees. Not to mention my goggles were fogged up.
Yeah.
So I was driving blind. You know, I was panting so hard. As soon as I put my helmet on, it was just
Fogged
like,
up.
I was like, Jesus Christ.
How long ago was this?
I don't know, what about a month? I sent it to you.
About
like 3 days.
5 weeks ago, something like that.
Okay, so
It's it just happened.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, when I sent the little submission thing, it was like 2 days later.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see, and about
Because that would have been around Thanksgiving.
yeah, and it wasn't about a month or so before that we had a report from the Bigfoot Trail.
Well, that's where we normally camp. My wife heard those screams